So welcome to the Social Enterprise Summit 2023 International Symposium. Social Enterprise Summit is a non-profit event organized by Hong Kong Social Entrepreneurship Forum, co-organized by the Home and Youth Affairs Bureau of the HKSAR government, together with over 20 civic groups. The summit is an annual event since 2008 and has become a major cross-sector platform among the civil, business, government, and academic sectors in the region in promoting innovative entrepreneurship for social change. This year, under the theme Sustainable Well-being Plus, the International Symposium aims to explore the role of holistic well-being in shaping a flourishing and sustainable society. Thank you all for joining this section, Asia Youth Entrepreneurship Exchange, under the track Well-being, Art and Culture. I'm your facilitator, Anita Lee. So we are so happy with us today. We got 4 aspiring young talents, and namely Felix Zhu, the Chief Financial Officer from Nostos Home, South Asia/EMEA. And we got with us Amanda Sun, Founder and Director, Arts for Hong Kong Foundation, coming from Hong Kong. And Malia Winata, she will join us, will be joining us on Zoom. The co-founder of Do and Yam, coming from Indonesia. And we got with us Kiran Nepali, Founder and Director of Project Sarangi Center from Nepal. So, shall we first start with the presentation? The speaker online with us, Malia. She will share with us more about the project of Do and Yam.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for having Du Anyam in this morning sessions. Allow me to share a brief story about Du Anyam through a 1-minute video, which I will be presenting soon. Can you hear the audio over there?
Yes, we can see the visual, but
Okay, is there any sound?
yes.
Is there any sound there?
Yeah, we got the audio. Thank you.
Okay, enjoy. Okay. All right. So, for you who wonder what is Du Anyam, Du Anyam means mother's weaving in Bahasa Indonesia. It is a social enterprise that aims to empower and improve the livelihood of women through the co-creation of handmade indigenous weave-based products. So Du Anyam comes from 2 words. Dua means mother and Anyam means weaving in Bahasa. So it literally means mother's weaving. So Du Anyam is founded in 2014 to tackle poor maternal and children's health conditions in rural Indonesia. We try to identify the root cause of these health issues and found that this is caused by 2 socio-economic factors. The first one is lack of year-round cash, where women only earn an average of $14 a month. And the second factor is lack of income options outside subsistence agriculture. Duanyam then comes in to sustainably provide economic empowerment for women by connecting existing craft skills and resources in the women community to the market. This in turn provides them with financial means to access better nutrition and education for their children. Started with only 8 weavers in one small village in East Indonesia, we are now empowering more than 1,600 women in 54 villages in remote Indonesia. We have increased women's income in average of 40%. We have sold more than 250,000 products so far, partnering with more than 800 multinational corporations, hotels, and international conferences. Last year, we kicked off a partnership with IKEA, the world's largest furniture retailers, becoming their very first social enterprise partners in Indonesia in producing IKEA natural fibers collection. Working with IKEA has challenged us as a social enterprise where we need to apply a standardized supply chain system in village-based production, operations, logistics of the goods from remote areas, while ensuring any stakeholders that are involved in our supply chain met the international standard social compliances. Recently, we also just kicked off a collaboration with Starbucks, creating their annual 2024 notebook planner that are available in all Starbucks stores right now here in Indonesia. So Duanyam elevate existing traditional craftsmanship and bring additional values to every product produced by giving design direction and setting quality standardization for each product. Here are some of our collections in corporate gifts and merchandise on the left side and home decor collection on the right image on screen. So this is how Duanyam provides sustainable economic and social impact. First, we source raw materials from local community. We optimize locally grown raw materials to reduce transport emissions while preserving the local tradition. Then we teach women to produce standardized and marketable products. We pay the women for every product made, even before it is being sold to the market. We conduct quality control and are responsible for the value-added process of the woven craft. And we actively market the products in both domestic and international markets. With the unique design, standardized quality and impact for the communities and environment, our products are able to compete in the global market. Currently, we export to 8 countries in the US and a few countries in Europe and Asia. Since 2019, Duanyam has been using a supply chain mobile apps to collect and store production data in real time. Before the apps, our weavers need to manually record production data and weavers' payment in pen and paper. You can see it from the photo on the left. Our weaver looked quite stressed in dealing with the data collection. And with the apps, we managed to transfer data in real time from our production team in the villages to our headquarters office. It also helps in payment tracking to our weavers more accurately. Through this simple technology, logistics labeling process is 6 times faster, as they can just fill in the data inside the app and directly print the hard copy using portable printer. And production monitoring is also faster, and ultimately, we reach 0% pricing errors and calculation for the weavers. So these are the weavers that we empower to take better control of their domestic roles, while at the same time acquire new job-related skills and life skills through Duanyam. So 32% of women are main family providers. More than 65% women artisans are above 45 years old. Majority of women works in agricultural and fisheries, and more than 66% only graduated elementary school. We believe in Du Anyam that when women have the skills and confidence on their own ability, power is put back into their hands to shape their own futures. This is the true essence of women empowerment. So these are our commitments towards sustainable development goals. We give the opportunity for women to thrive and develop their competencies. We provide learning ecosystem where women can teach younger generations on how to live. Fair wage, health, and work safety are protected. We also do raw materials conservation by practicing sustainable harvesting and replanting of the raw materials. We also manage our raw material waste in a circular way by using it for fertilizers. These commitments are embodied in Du Anyam's 3 main pillars, which are also aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals number 1, 3, 4, 5, and 8, which are no poverty, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, and decent work and economic growth. So beyond economic empowerment, Du Anyam also provides further social impacts that are aligned with the community needs and our 3 main pillars. First, in empowerment, we provide financial literacy trainings to more than 100 women so far, and we have distributed 490 scholarships for artisans' children. Second, in improved livelihood, 6,100 nutritious food packages, 500 plus glasses, and 500 solar lamps are given to communities to improve their quality of life. And the last one, in promote culture, we collaborated with 2 local high schools and conduct weaker within curriculum for younger generation to inherit the skills of weaker weaving. And so far, 92 students have enrolled in this program. So thank you very much for listening to Du Anyam's journey in empowering women artisans in rural villages in Indonesia. And I look forward to any future potential collaboration with you all in creating greater impact for women communities in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's very great sharing. Thank you for letting us to know more about Du Anyam. And shall we now pass the time to Felix, and he'll share with us about Nostal's home, which they got some construction projects around the world.
So, hi everyone. You hear me well? So, my name is Felix, and I'm the CFO and Board of Trustees of Nostal's Homes. And I'm also an M&A banker in full time. So, just a little bit about a quick introduction of what we do. So, we design and we manufacture emergency shelters for forcibly displaced people around the world. So people who are displaced because of disasters, wars, and any type of physical conflicts, we intend to help them to provide a home and a sustainable place for them to live in. So in the world, there's around 86 million people who are forcibly displaced across the world, and we are only serving such a small portion of the whole globe. And what we do is we want to help them thrive because of their lost homes, and help them rebuild their social existence and place, and restore their life essentially. So the model we have is essentially we have these modular houses, and we would ship them over to the location where needed. And these houses can be built and established within the matter of 3 to 4 days. It's easily ran by local artisans, so anyone can do it without any needs of welding. So these are all nuts and bolts where you can do it by hand and by local people as well. So without the need of any actual workers bringing in the welding tools, and can be established anywhere. So going back to how we started this organization, so I was an architect by training, and I met my co-founders, and they were engineers during a construction competition in the UK, and hence this charity is established in the UK but have global operation. So we've done deployments in India, in Africa, and we would be willing, well, we're looking to do it in other places, especially where there are earthquakes, in Morocco early this year, and also Turkey. And these natural disasters or these forcefully displaced events will happen increasingly every year that we have to battle. So our mission is to, as I mentioned, to provide a roof and sustainable living for people who have their houses destroyed in the progress, and this is what we want to do. And throughout our educational life, and this is our goal to give back to the community, to the society with what we learned, and hence with my knowledge in architecture and my co-founder's knowledge in engineering, we collaborate together and come up with this patented modular housing. So from when we started in 2021 to present, we've established around 40 houses, and there are currently 8 houses being built under development. I will pick out one particular project that we do later on, that it is a deployment in Malawi. So we deployed in Q4 2022, and we paid a visit to the local area in Falombe. So just a little bit highlight about our achievements right now. So we've partnered with Habitat for Humanity Malawi and their global organization to act as our deployment partner. So they would allocate the certain locations, or we would collaborate together to discuss where to deploy, and also they would select beneficiary families for us to deploy with. And we also have the opportunity to partner with Meta. So we came up with a data-driven report called Looking Closer, which shows all the possible or all the existing disasters or forcibly displaced locations in the world currently. And this can be accessed through Meta and our Nososom's website as well. So as I mentioned, the deployment highlight in Malawi, so we paid a visit early on this year. It was a very eye-opening trip, because I traveled all the way from Hong Kong, and before you get there, you have to do essentially 5 vaccines. The yellow fever, which is the must, and you have to take couple medications, including malaria. So the way I went was I flew all the way to Nairobi in Kenya, and had to change connection flight to the Malawi capital, and it takes around a day to travel to the country itself. And when we went, it was their flooding season, it was their monsoon season. This is what their roads look like in the most kind of well-established places. So compared to what we see normally in cities in Hong Kong, we could never imagine stuff like this happening. And this is one of the kind of major markets for where they shop groceries from day-to-day basis. And it's really eye-opening for me, for my co-founders, to actually get on the ground and feel it ourselves, to see what's actually happening there. And one of the major reasons why we wanted to get on the ground is through communication and actually face-to-face speaking with the local authorities, the government, and the beneficiaries, we actually know the pain points they have, because we don't want to implement the way we live into how they live normally. So it's a dialogue of our organizations and the beneficiaries to show that, okay, to improve in our future deployments. So on the top 4 photos, it's Nossos homes, and each Nossos homes we deploy, in every location we deploy, the design is a little bit different. So adjusting to the local climate. So in Malawi especially, there's a raised platform of concrete to build on. This is done because there's lots of flooding and there's not much foundation for the soil in Malawi. So this is what they usually get into. So flooding and monsoon season, and hence this is the house where we want to provide to them. And normally what they use for their house is mud bricks. So mud bricks are the way they manufacture mud bricks is they dig up the soil, and they have to use a lot of biomass and wood to burn in order to solidify the brick itself. However, it's very unenvironmentally friendly, and it creates a lot of pollution, and it's not very stable, as you can see. And hence the Malawian government banned the use of mud bricks in 2020. But when you ban something without providing an actual solution to that, people don't know what to do, and there's a gap between the supply and demand and what kind of materials they can build or can use for building their homes. So this is what we are trying to address in our upcoming upscale deployment in Malawi, and we've been speaking alongside speaking with the central government and the local government as well to try if there's any local replaceable resources we can incorporate into our design. So Falome in Malawi, most of you probably haven't heard of this company, this country before. It's near the Central Africa. There's only one road that is concrete from the south to north in the country. It takes around 6 hours of traveling within the country to travel to the actual deployment site. So the way we deploy is we have a manufacturing partner in India. So the manufacturing partner would ship the containers all the way to the ports of Dar es Salaam and then to Malawi. They would teach the local artisans how to build, which is very easy to learn. So the building method is very easy to learn, and hence we want to teach the local people to have their own maintenance and to create their ecosystem in locally. So these are the pictures and moments where we took pictures, and we also discussed. We had dialogue with the local government, and with their support, we are able to do everything much more smoother. And also with their support, we're looking to deploy a scale up in the upcoming future. So this is a family of a single mother of 3, and the mother is 16 years old. So it's very common for them to have a family of at least 7 to 8 in their mid-teens, I would say. And for them to earn their living, they have to go out, leave their family for at least a month, and just trying to get scraps and feed one's needs. So with the mud houses they've got, and the monsoon season hitting in, their houses can be destroyed in no time. And their kids left alone would be staying with a roof, staying in a house without a roof, and trying to survive those horrible climates. So what we do is essentially picked up one of a few of the beneficiaries, and we're trying to incorporate them a roof above their heads, and we're trying to upscale to help more people in the region as well. So describing about the upcoming plans and projects. So we're currently fundraising for 100 more houses, which is 50 nosos homes. So within one home, there are 2 houses which can accommodate 7 people each. And for our phase 1, it would be a sponsorship program with us, and our deployment partner is Habitat for Humanity. So we've also got the media coverage partner from the UK BBC, who will be deploying and doing live streams on ground within the 3 to 4 days range while we erect the houses. And the second phase would be essentially a more upscale fundraising activity with other verticals, real estate, infrastructure, communities around the globe. So just to talk about more about the finances and users proceeds, because we all, within our organization, every one of us have a main job. So my co-founders are currently an employee in Google, in MasterCard, one in Goldman Sachs. I'm currently a banker in full-time. So 100% of our proceeds or donation would go into the cause. So as you can see, the raw materials actually takes up a chunk of the donations that we receive. But if we incorporate them into local companies or local manufacturers, this type of cost will lower significantly. And here's a quick quote from the National Director of Habitat for Humanity Malawi. And be a force for good, and we look to influence the next generation, the next younger generation, or people to learn about or to think about the poverty and how we can use our knowledge and experience to help these communities. And so we serve, we persevere until everyone has a home. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Felix. That's very inspiring, eye-opening project in Malawi. And shall we now pass the time to Amanda? Amanda-san, she is the founder and director of Arts for Good Foundation. And she will share with us her work and her foundation and how art changed the livelihood of Hong Kong students. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Felix. Thank you for the inspiring quotes. I resonate personally a lot with what Felix did. I think your life experiences out of the comfort job that you and your partners have, and also traveling in different places and experience other people's life, making a process of home for others and changing other people's life, and serving the communities that don't share the privilege we have. I certainly resonate a lot with that, and also I think that's all where All Arts for Good is coming from. Sorry for settling the technical issues, and thank you for the context for the work you're doing. So, thank you. Oh, there's no battery. Maybe while we're waiting, I can just briefly introduce myself and the work of Arts for Good Foundation and what it means of the work we do. So my name is Amanda Sun. I come from business, social science, and education research background. I studied recreation and leisure study policies about a long time ago. I came in Hong Kong as an outsider. So I've been here for 13 years. Arts for Good Foundation start from, really seeking for deeper meanings of the young people and how do we bring hope for others. So we're looking at diversity. Basically, Arts for Good Foundation is a social enterprise with a mission for social inclusion in the future. We raise a new definition of how do we looking at social inclusion. If we don't looking at our demographic differences in our society, a true meaning of social inclusion and what it means for Hong Kong, we're looking at diversity of perspectives. We do education, but mainly to looking at the diversity of the younger generations in interpreting and reinterpreting things in their learning. We're looking at the social inclusion from a shared feeling of inclusiveness. I mean, we all coming from all different life experiences, all different demographic differences. What is a shared feeling of younger generation for everybody coming to Hong Kong? That's another meaning of social inclusion. We're also looking at the social inclusion from what Hong Kong means for everybody. What is a common cultural identities for everybody coming from diverse backgrounds and also diverse life experiences to have a common cultural identity for Hong Kong and have a common goal of making Hong Kong a better place. I guess that's where of All Arts for Good Foundation comes from. I speak Mandarin English, but I'm fluent and native in Cantonese from my 12 years in Hong Kong, so I can handle any Cantonese coming up from your question if there's any. Thank you. Okay, now here we go. Thanks for the time. So do I press the middle one? Okay. Sorry, it's a bit small to looking at it. I'll just quickly brief the framework of Arts for Good Foundation. We mainly do education, but we're looking at the future, how we can change this in a 10 or 20 years of time that we're doing. We're looking at the social inclusion through the power of arts. Arts is not only a therapeutic way of making a differences. Arts has a tremendous social powers. We're talking about power of imagination, imagine a difference, power of hope, power of storytelling, power of feeling, and power of giving, and power of belonging. So these are the powers we're talking about through Arts for Good Foundation. There's a 3 key social enterprises offerings that we're doing, other than the 3 supplementary ones. The main ones we're doing is through art viewing. Art viewing art is all about context and perspective. How do we help younger generation to raise diverse perspective of interpreting things, interpreting our relationship, interpreting our society? We educate it through the art viewing. We're not educating artists. We are not content about the art itself. It's how arts are making us change in our thinking and process of thinking. We also advocate arts integral learning. I'll get into a bit more of that in the beginning. Why arts is a synthesizer and synthesizing different disciplinary learning into a comprehensive learning experiences for our future generation. We're looking at service learning. We are the only one and the first organization in Hong Kong advocating service learning in universities through and with arts. Arts, service learning to make impact with the community. We also do other stuff, but I can talk to you more about that if you have time afterwards. So, as I said, I came to Hong Kong as a completely outsider. When I look in education, I actually work in the education sector as a researcher for over 10 years. When I look in at education sectors in Hong Kong, first of all, I came from mainland China when education is more of a centralized system. But when I'm looking at Hong Kong, it sounds very interesting for me. I describe it as a tale of 2 cities. I work with students from both international IB backgrounds and students from local backgrounds. And I found the tremendous differences of the curriculums, the differences that students in Hong Kong actually receiving in different systems. So for example, when IB is talking about inquiry-based learning, talking about interdisciplinary learning, talking about holistic development, while traditional school students were suffering about the content-based direct instructions, the mental and social well-being, and also about single subject-based learning, which is very outdated in the education theory. So where's the context coming from? I'm a big fan of education researcher. A Synthesizing Mind by the Harvard Graduate School of Education. He actually completely providing a theoretical approach, framework for the work we're doing here in Hong Kong through Arts for Good Foundation. So I've said that one. I would explain a bit later. So this is our definition of social inclusion and diversity. We're looking at a shared feeling of inclusiveness. We're looking at what Hong Kong means to everybody, a common cultural identity. We're looking at the ethical and respectful minds to all our differences. I don't care where you're coming from, what's your life experiences, what is your family background, what's your last generation's family backgrounds. It does not matter. Anything that demographically different is not what we're looking at. We're looking at ethical and respectful mindset, looking at how are we different from each other and where is it coming from. And we're looking at a common cultural identity. So I said about the powers of arts that we advocate through Arts for Good Foundation. So now I'm talking about the arts integral learning. Why arts? Why arts in the curriculum is so important in creating a different future for our generation. Arts is about context, it's about perspective, it's also about history. How do we interpret all of this in our programs? Storytelling through art and viewing education program is one of the secret sauce that we are advocating. How the individual story can make a difference to other people's life with perspective and context and history. Art is a synthesizer and a synthesizer. That's why we're advocating cross-disciplinary learning, how arts can incorporate with sociology, social science, history, geography, English learning, all other things. Art is a medium. It's not about art as a subject itself, it's a synthesizing of cross-disciplinary learning and creating experiences and creating projects that making students inspired in the way of learning. Art is more about personal emotion. It's about perspective. It's about your broader care for the world. That's why I resonate a lot with Felix Dad, is because, empathetical skills and ability broaden your windows to looking at the world and want to do good for others. And this is what art is making. And art is only about the expressive process itself. It's also a reflective process of self. It's not about doing and doing and doing. It's about taking it back and think it deeper and how do we make a difference. So we imagine a different future through and with art. So the theory of change, I will share of our theory of change a bit of later. So what we do and how do we do it? Basically, we take the IB highlights from the Hong Kong has actually the best IB schools in the world. And we take the IB highlights, which are the 3 highlights: arts, integrated learning, project-based learning, and also service learning. However, the problem of IB schools in Hong Kong is very diluted from our own culture. We bring Hong Kong and community stories into all those IB highlights projects and learning experiences. And then we curate experiences and contents and frameworks to make impact in our underprivileged and local school students by working with NGOs and schools in Hong Kong. So we're looking at the shared values of the diversity. We're looking at local context. We're working with community-rooted stories that are making resonance to everyone that's living in Hong Kong. We're looking at more of a collective and participatory form of making changes. None of the change can be done alone on our own. And this is what our sustainability is about. It's all about collaboration. So I think bringing the beauty of the collective efforts through the beauty of arts is what we are trying to do. So as I said, I have 3 key offerings about art viewing and arts integrated learning projects, which is based in community. And we're looking at a new pillar of service learning for the young people in Hong Kong. Okay, there's quite a, how many time do I have? How much time do I have due to the technical? Okay. So basically our deliverables, we tell stories. We tell stories that make it relevant of our relevant experiences in Hong Kong. So we're not content-based or in a top-down based approach of teaching skills or teaching knowledge, but we're looking at reverse of people-centered approach. Who are we serving? How our stories make a resonant to the people that we're serving? We think about the way from the beneficiaries or students' perspective in curating our experiences. So for example, I'll give a few examples of how the past project we did. We were talking about Hong Kong's textile history with the mills, for example, by working with a group of ethnic minorities. However, we're using the Indian folk art of talking about Hong Kong historical stories and the textile industry and what textile means for every one of us living in Hong Kong. And we're talking about how does the textile and history of Hong Kong resonate with people come from Southeast Asia. So we're using Indian folk arts to introducing Hong Kong's local history and also local story and making that connection culturally and found a deeper meaning for every one of us. We advocating body diversity, which we advocate all kind of a diversity, body diversity, gender diversity, age diversities. This is how we did with our stories through our filmmaking, video making, creative media, or contemporary arts making process, and bring that diversity out. We're celebrating our diversities through and with the arts, and this is what we're doing. We recently did, if you're in the Arts and MTR website, you probably can be able to find the recent project we did about art MTR in every stations right now. Why the art at MTR has to be placed in that particular station? Have you ever thought about that? Because that's how we link the arts with the community, with the life of people. How do we bring meanings for the people living in that particular community and particular neighborhood? And we bring out the stories of how the arts link to the stories of local communities. As I said, we also do cross-gender inclusion, talking about with different medium of arts. Mainly we work a lot with young people. I'm just trying to highlight the 4 highlights, 4 outcomes that we're trying to work with young people is we are seeking, choose, and foster perspectives. Facts and perspective are completely different, and the young people needs to know what is the choose and what is the fact and what is the perspective in the process of art making. We are seeking a beauty through and with the arts, beauty of personal story, beauty of life experiences, beauty of our community, beauty of our relationship. We are seeking good collectively. What is a common good for everybody? What is common good, bigger good we're looking at it. I was listening to Felix's story. What is a bigger good for the world? What is a bigger good for the society? What is a bigger good for the community? And this is how we teach the young people in the process of our programs. And also we reframe. Reframe and reinterpret it is a high level of skills. How would you be able to tell a story and reinterpret a story and making a connection with other people rather than, so this is what we're talking about by perspectives. So this is our theory of change. Long-term wise, we like to creating a pillar of arts and culture in our education, which is sustainably leading with a sustainable purpose of more diverse and inclusive society for Hong Kong. We're looking at our output, as I said, mainly through our viewing, experiential learning, project-based learning, arts integral learning projects, as well as service learning in the universities. We're looking at the long-term impact because Hong Kong has been identified in the West and East cultural hub. What does it mean for our future talents? Do we have a multicultural mindset? Do we have the West and East mindset? How do we tell stories to the West and how do we tell the story to the East? That's all the soft skills that we prepare the younger generation for our Hong Kong's position as a West and East cultural hub. Sorry, that's take a bit too long, but I hope it can resonate a bit of you, but thank you.
Thank you so much for Amanda's sharing. So she shared with us about how it's education in Hong Kong and do good, better goods. And for now, we'll have the time for Karen Nepali, which is the founder and director of Project Sarangi Center in Nepal. And Karen will be joining us online through Zoom.
For giving us the opportunity to share our stories through online media. Thank you so much. My name is Kiran Nepali. I'm the founder director of Project Sarangi. I would like to present you my presentation.
Hi Karen, thank you.
Hi,
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
But we can't see the visual yet.
okay, I'm just sharing now.
We got it now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so the Project Sarangi is all for sustainable well-being. So my name is Kiran Nepali. I am a self-taught Sarangi player, improviser, composer based in Kathmandu, and I am the founder director of Project Sarangi. I'm a member of two famous bands called Kutumba and People Shetri, and I've recently started an electronic project called Postronic. I performed globally across 16 countries and shared the stage with Grammy Award winner Wycliffe John and Monu Shah and many others. I'm the first Nepali performer to perform at Etihad Stadium in Manchester, which is the home city for Man City Club. I'm also one with International Fellowship alumnus, the US Department of State Bureau of Education and Cultural Affairs. Let me take you to the Project Sarangi. Before that, what is Sarangi? So Sarangi is the folk instrument of Nepal, which holds a significant cultural importance in the traditional Nepali music. It has a long history. It is played by a community called Gandharvas, who were an important part of the culture in Nepal back in the history, because they were the storytellers, like gypsies and troubadours. They used to travel places singing and taking the stories to the people. But there was a caste division in Nepal, which kept the Gandharvas as untouchable of the Dalits. So this impacted the caste discrimination impact was so huge on the Gandharvas that whole generations of people stopped playing the music. And Sarangi was the instrument they used to carry around to share their stories and play music. So also due to the globalization and influence of Western music in Nepal, most of the instruments disappeared. Initially there were 1,325 different folk instruments in Nepal. Now we have hardly 20. So with a vision to protect and revive the instrument, we founded Project Sarangi in 2014, especially to revitalize the folk instruments and other instruments like sarangi and others. So our mission, vision, goal for the cultural preservation is, first mission is, initial mission is to preserve our sarangi, our folk instruments, and the influence of Western music in Nepal is so huge that most of the youth don't even know about our folk instruments. So our mission is also to aware people about folk instruments, and there's a big gap for the younger generation to actually speak the instruments and know about folk instruments. So our mission is to pass this rich cultural heritage of sarangi to the next generation. And lastly, promotion of the cultural engagement among expatriates. So there are a lot of people living abroad, especially Nepali people, and they have been away from the country, from the culture, and from the music. So we are trying to reconnect them through the music. So the vision is trying to inspire everyone to learn sarangi, and also elevating sarangi to the global stage, showcasing Nepali rich cultural heritage to the world. Our goal is to create a global folk community, and also we are establishing online platforms for the sarangi enthusiasts and other folk instrument enthusiasts to connect and revive the folk instruments. So we also facilitate events. We do a lot of events where young sarangi players come together and share their experience, which I will tell you later on. So we are trying to re-engage this youth and other people for the cultural roots so that they connect back to the culture. So this is how we sustain our economic sustainability, our innovative funding model. We have 4 lines of work that we do. First is Project Sarangi Center. So Project Sarangi provides classes, especially Sarangi learning to a different level of groups. We also do teachers training, where we equip the upcoming new teachers for a proper learning system. And we also do a lot of workshops in different schools, colleges, nationally and internationally, where we try to aware people about our folk instruments and also try to make them learn the instruments. We also have our in-house manufacturing factory, where we produce high-quality sarangi, and also we train the people from the Gandharva community as well in the process to make the sarangi of better quality sarangi, which is actually changing their livelihood. And also we're working on creating the demand of the sarangi worldwide as well, and also locally. We have Project Sarangi Artist Management, where we manage the emerging folk artists, giving them platforms to be a performer, as well as giving them economic opportunities to sustain themselves. We have Project Sarangi Foundation, a non-profit organization, where we try to preserve and promote Nepali folk instruments, sarangi, and other folk instruments through research, education, and events. We collaborate with the local governments in Nepal, as well as the corporate CSR projects, where we're giving back to the community. We have a lot of government schools where we have started teaching the sarangi on a curriculum-based education system, and also different communities where we try to empower youth and especially women through music. So here are some examples of prospering lives through music. So in the social and economic empowerment. So in the process of 10 years, we have got more than 2,500 sarangi worldwide. So this is instrument coming from a lower caste, where people used to think that the whole instrument is regarded as a symbol of lower casteism. So nobody was willing to even serve the instrument or play the instrument. So we have actually revolutionized on changing the concept of the people from an untouchable instrument to an instrument that has been liked by all now. So from on the dying instruments, now a lot of youth have taken the instruments. So we have more than 2,500 students worldwide. So the second picture is Ayushman, our mentor, who was the former student, actually the first batch where we opened up for the women, free classes for women. We also do teachers training, where we empower the folk artists to go and teach in different schools. We conduct global workshops worldwide as well, so that we can connect with the people living abroad as well, to teach sarangi and reconnect to the country. So we empower next generation of kids and youth through different workshops and introducing them to our sarangi and our other folk instruments and inspire them to learn. We also create different platforms like Sarangi Tela to actually share the knowledge of music and grow within. So these are the examples of our folk artists who are upcoming, and they have been performing all over the places and promoting our Nepali folk instruments. So okay, this is the sarangi which used to look like before, and now we have converted the same sarangi to this. So globally, we have sold more than 3,000 sarangis, revolutionizing with instruments, with different shape and size, with beautiful art, and also now we have modified the sarangi with electronic and wireless capabilities, so that you can see this how it looked before, and this is the present sarangi we are making, and also we're using a lot of accessories to make it more accessible for the people and more appealing as well. So these are a few examples of our social initiatives. The first one is our mentor, another mentor, Din Kumar. We partnered with one of the orphanages to offer the music education, and here's an example from that student to a teacher, and teaching in our own center as well, and inspiring and spreading the music education to a lot of students. And the next picture is the free classes for women that we started. We try to empower them with music and change their livelihood. The third picture is students from the government schools who are learning sarangi now. And we are doing one creating history in December 16th, where we have 70 sarangi players from different government schools coming together to perform. And the last one is from the festival that we do. Annually, we do Jambal Kozata. It's a platform for local folk instruments. We started off in 2016, where we had only 16 sarangi players who came together to perform. But in 2019, we had more than 380 musicians who were the folk community-based musicians who came to perform for more than 4,000 people. So we try to also empower the folk instruments from the community to showcase, and actually this stage, Jambal Kozata, is the only stage in Nepal where the folk instruments can showcase and perform. So our sustainability pathways. So the first one is, this is what we try to do, is global outreach and financial fortification of the cultural prosperity. So we're trying to take this music, especially Nepali folk music, to the global market, and try to connect with different people living around the world to connect them to Nepali music as well. And for that, we're seeking funding from grants, sponsorship, and cultural sectors because now we are operating from Kathmandu and a few other main cities. But the vision is to take this music to all over Nepal and also taking it globally to different parts of the world. So that's why we are trying to take this music to a larger audience and promoting cultural exchange and re-engagement. So we do workshops, seminars, events with a lot of people, a lot of places in the world, so that we can expand this vision of Sarangi to a lot of people. We do a lot of cultural exchange and collaboration with different people from around the world because we believe that this is a way to introduce music to the world and open up for the collaboration. Because Nepali music has been in just a community-based system for so long. So we are trying to break the barrier and take this music globally so that people from around the world can connect with the music. So this can actually generate a lot of revenue and there will be visibility of exchange here as well. So long-term partnership with educational institutions. So establishing relationship with schools, colleges, and universities to offer formal courses on Nepali folk music. Actually, Nepali music hasn't been introduced in the curriculum system in Nepal itself. So we are trying to collaborate with local governments, schools, and colleges in Nepal to actually integrate the folk music into the school system. So that's what we're trying to do and establish this music to different schools around Nepal and in the world. So groundbreaking curriculum integration, we're trying to transform Nepali education with integrated Sarangi-based music curriculum in all schools in Nepal so that we can inspire a lot of youth to play music and also create a career base for the youth to re-engage in music, empower educators. So we are doing a lot of workshops for the teachers training here in Nepal for the Sarangi teachers, and we want to open that to a lot of music teachers in Nepal so that we can empower them for the overall musical growth and online platforms and monetization. So we are exploring on premium options like membership, subscriptions for the exclusive online resources and events so that more people can be benefited and connected to our folk music. So call to action, sustaining tradition, culturally rich and economically viable. So we believe that a thriving business can coexist with cultural preservation without compromising authenticity. And we're trying to create a model that inspires the both. Through cultural exchange program, we have garnered international recognition, spanning a reach and impact. Empowering artisans and embracing tradition, providing opportunities and resources for local artisans. We're revitalizing the fading out of traditional folk music and instruments like sarangi and other instruments, and we are trying to create a sustainable ecosystem around the cultural treasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kiran. This is very interesting sharing. This is my first time seeing a Sarangi live, and how you're trying to sustain the tradition is very meaningful to our society. And I think for today's track, as we are talking about arts and culture, we are very happy that 4 of our guests actually come from the different background and fields of arts and culture. So we've got education, arts education, we've got music, we've got handcraft, weaving, and we've got architecture, say building homes. And shall we now move on to the panel discussion and see how the different fields can actually interact and the diversity of arts and culture. Maybe we'll start with Felix, and I think you can share with us more about like the ideas of design, arts, and culture, how it integrates with your emergency homes, and like when you're trying to build houses, like how the concept of arts is integrated in your project, and maybe in the future or in the bigger picture, like in the architecture industry or construction industry, like how arts or culture or social innovation can play a role.
Sure. Well, it's a very big question. So I'll start with how Nososome incorporate arts and architecture. So as I mentioned during my presentation, so each of the houses in different regions are designed differently because due to the geographical location and what kind of conflicts or disasters they are surrounded with. So, for example, in India, their soil is a bit more dense, and they do have flooding, but the impact of flooding wouldn't be the same as it is in Malawi. So in India, we don't have a solid platform. We don't have a concrete platform under our houses. But whilst in Malawi, it's a little bit different. So we would need to have a foundation in order to stabilize the house. And also, secondly, in terms of arts and local culture, we would go to the ground, and we would travel there and speak with the beneficiaries, the local artisans who help build the houses. So we've learned this throughout architecture school, that we have to visit the sites in person, speak with people on the ground who actually live there their whole life to get a taste. We won't ever kind of have the full picture of what they encounter, but at least through that communication or dialogue, we know how we can better help them, and from their experience, what they want us to do in our design. So, for example, in our deployment in Malawi, families there, they are big, but they want to be close, but they don't want to be too close. So they want more compartments within these houses, and also maybe the entrance of the houses, they don't want to be adjacent to each other. They want it to be kind of opposite of each other. So they can see each other every day, but they don't want to see that often. That's one of them. And yeah, I think that's mainly how we incorporate our studies or our knowledge from what we've learned from engineering school or architecture school to help people around the world in this kind of sense.
Then, from this sense, like building houses can be quite personalized. Do you think so? Like every family, they got their own practices or they preferred living styles. So how do you cater the different families and their needs?
So we essentially let them customize the design, because as you mentioned, everyone lives differently and they have their own kind of behaviors. So we would have a general design, and for them to kind of add their own values in. So I think this is one of the major things of architecture, where you don't want to kind of force people to live in your ideal situation or ideology, but whilst to have that kind of leeway of push and pull and having their own habits in. I think this is very important for arts as well. So like there's no perfect art. Every piece of art is different, and that's what makes kind of the culture of art appealing to us, and yeah.
Then I think, do you think they will face a problem of financial reality? Like if you are trying to make more tailored or more caring designs for those in need, then maybe the cost will go up.
Yes, that happens. But as I mentioned, so we try to have a standardized modular house, but the design or the price aspects is down to the material and the logistics of getting those modular houses to the local area. But adding an extra partition or having something that's customized to the local culture isn't actually that much more add to the cost. So I think the step we want to take, and that's why we had the conversation with the local government and also local corporate, which is to incorporate local materials to replace or to find a potential replacement for our materials that needs to be shipped in different continents, from different continents, to bring the cost down, and also to bring up local economy, because when you have these needs, it essentially becomes an ecosystem of maintenance, people who knows how to build and know how to construct, and also the manufacturers that is able to manufacture these components within these modular houses.
I think when we come to costing finance, maybe Amanda can share with us as well. I think, and especially in Hong Kong, there used to be some stereotypings regarding arts and culture that it's not a good career path, or some parents or more traditional schools or education entities may not be so supportive, encouraging when it comes to younger generations' education in arts. So do you see the resistance or conflicts between arts exploration developments and financial reality, and especially in Hong Kong, is that serious?
Yeah, thank you for your question. I definitely know where this question comes from, and this is not the first time I've been asked about this kind of question. I think, well, I grew up in a place, or in my life experiences, that education, the purpose of education is to make a better society. I think that's the seed I was planted at was very early age, and it's also my education in China and Canada. When I came to Hong Kong, I mean, my artistic sense or my artistic nature of me is I like to observe people, observe and imagine, because you observe, you know, in the community or in people's life. Yes, there's definitely a lot of conversations or observance that I noticed that in our societies, that kids, children are educated in a way to buy a house, to make a living. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But what is the bigger purpose of education from schools, from the parents? So that actually a small starting seed that actually worries me. That's why we ask for good, stakeholders or ask for good is not parents. We don't work with parents, we work with educators who share the purpose. I mean, if some of the audiences from here, if it's a frontline teachers, we are very eager to connect, because frontline teachers are the ones that actually can put into the purpose into their classroom and scheduling timetable that can making our projects landed to benefit students. And I think to respond to your question, I think Hong Kong definitely changing a lot, particularly right now the younger generation, younger teachers tend to very young, and they are more looking at different meanings and purposes in their practice, and they're very willing to connect with societies and looking for new opportunities to make innovative changes in their education. So I think it's slowly changing, but it's definitely, yeah, I know where the questions come from, but thank you.
Do you think this is a problem that has to be solved, Or like, is this a more serious situation in Hong Kong or in Asia? Like, do you have such observation to share?
I definitely think it's a collective efforts, right? There's a lot of organizations doing parental education. There is a lot of other organizations doing different kind of supports to solve different problems. Definitely, everybody is working together to work on it. But I think for a sustainable well-being society, diversity of career, diversity of life choices, diversity of experiences, diversity of learning needs are all something that we all need to work on it. I mean, from mindset perspective, we need to accept that kind of a diversity. Not everybody wanted to be an artist. Not everybody wanted to be a banker. Not everybody wanted to be an architect or a finance or lawyer. I mean, how do we providing educating children and youth to seek diversity of life career choices, having the entrepreneurship spirit, looking for things that resonate with their true self. And that actually means a lot to me, and I think that's also what I'm trying to advocate more with my work. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a very meaningful and advocacy, and especially in Hong Kong. Well, but then when we see such advocacy is usually more bottom up, like it started with the social enterprises, the organizations, NGOs. Well, do you think there's anything that the government or on the policy level that the society can support to provide more diverse choices to our younger generations? Because sometimes when we think of life choices in Hong Kong, we understand it as a financial city, financial center, and maybe earning a living in Hong Kong is rather tough or hard. So we wish children, students to go for the finance pathway. So I think this is quite deep-rooted in Hong Kong, and much efforts and time is needed if we are to change such mindset. So what do you think that can be done in our society?
This morning before I came here, I was in CUHK business school with public policy professors. We're talking about the same problem. Hong Kong is a very alpha society, very well-developed societies. And the problem of that very sophisticated, well-developed societies is you're lacking less gray shade and possibilities for people to explore. I mean, versus for me, I grew up in the middle of the 80s in China. We had nothing. I had my first soap to wash my body at the age of 7, which is almost 90. I mean, that kind of life experiences bring you a different perspective of looking at possibilities. And younger generations grow up in Hong Kong, in such a well-developed country. How do they be educated in a way to take risks, to be creative, to think about something out of the box, to do that? I mean, we wouldn't be taught in a way like in the 80s and 90s when we grew up in mainland China. We would just naturally live in a way to create, to make things happen. And I think that's kind of entrepreneurship is really, really important. That's why we're very advocating project-based learning for students in Hong Kong. Give you a problem, you solve it. It's all about how do you get in different resources, how do you creatively thinking ways to solve the problems. And project-based learning needs to advocate at a very, very young age, not at the university. I mean, they can be provided with content, instructions, from their teachers or from anyone else, right? They need to face the problem at a very young age, and then creating differences and solutions in a project-based and real-life scenario as well. So this is all we are trying to advocate through the work we do.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Amanda shared with us the situation in Hong Kong, and maybe now we can talk about the situation in Indonesia. So, Malia, thank you so much for sharing with us your project of the weaving, the handcraft. I see that as your project scale up, you are working with the multinational corporates, even IKEA. But we are interested to know more about, like, will there be conflict between handcraft, weaving, and the application of technology? Because as you scale up your social enterprise, actually you need standardization, maybe the use of machinery, a production line, or standardization. So will it come to a point that you may have to cut the ratio of handcraft or manpower and like sacrifice it in the return of standardization or quality control? Like, do you face such struggles?
Yes, thank you, Anita. So I think, the application of technology, especially in the handicrafts production, particularly in the machinery to boost production capacity, it's necessary to scale your business. We started with all 100% handmade products, and we started to also introduce some machines and technologies throughout the supply chain and production process. If we're talking about machinery itself, machinery automation can significantly increase the speed and the volume of production. And this also allows women artisans to create more items in a shorter amount of time and meeting higher demand. You mentioned that working with IKEA as the world's biggest furniture retailers, the demand of the products will be much higher than what we had produced before. So I think definitely machinery can also ensure greater precision and consistency in handcrafted products, leading to higher quality and more uniform results. Because as much as we tell the stories, as much as we tell the buyers that all of these products are 100% handmade, the market still in need of a consistent, uniform products in terms of the quality to be able to compete in a global market. And lastly, I think automation can also speed up the production process, allowing artisans to respond more quickly to especially market trends and customer demands. Because when we say global market competition, design trends, they are changing very rapidly, and somewhat as a social enterprise, because we are producing products to compete in a global market, to compete in the market that is changing very rapidly, we really need to be able to catch up with the new trends. Technology can also help to preserve traditional crafts by making them more economically viable, and this can attract especially new generation of artisans, the younger generation who may be more inclined to embrace craft professionals with the aid of technology. And also we experience that it is very essential to strike a balance between technology and traditional craftsmanship. Over-reliance on machinery can lead to a loss of the uniqueness, human touch that defines the handcrafted products itself. So definitely the balance between technology and the handcraft artisans-made product should be where the artisans can also embrace the technology as a complementary tool rather than a replacement for their skills. Especially if we're talking about wicker weaving, is the centuries-old traditions that has been passed through from generations to generations, and this is the culture, the traditions, the legacy that we in Duanyam are really looking forward to pass on to the next generations.
do you have in mind, say, a plan of from 100% handmade to say 80% handmade or 60% handmade? Like, how do you strike a balance between preserving the tradition of weaving and increasing the output volume, making it more economically viable of your products?
Yeah, so currently we are working with women artisans in creating wicker sheets. So it is like a wicker sheet that we can cut into different various of products depending on the demand from the market. So if you remember one of my slides, I show a picture of a corporate gifts and merchandise collections. You can see that we actually combine the wicker weaving materials, the woven sheets, with other raw materials such as like leather or cloth or traditional cloth or canvas or any other fabrics materials. So that's one way that we have been doing in terms of scaling our production capacity to be able to meet bigger, higher demand in terms of combining the handcrafted products from women artisans with home industrial workshops to stitch and to combine like both different materials into more modern kind of like products that more fitted to the urban lifestyle.
Thank you so much, Aliyah. I think apart from weaving, we also got a speaker trying to preserve and sustain the traditional handcraft and arts. So Karan, can you share with us more about how you preserve Sarangi? Because I know that you use music as a medium, as a tool to create social impact, but however, music is rather intangible. So when it comes to impact measurement, do you think you face difficulties or resistance, or how do you manage to measure your impact of music, how it can spread social goods?
Thank you, Didi, for the question. The instruments that come from a border extinction to now a very favorite instrument for the youth in Nepal. So all these things could be possible due to the evolution of the instrument itself. So from a very handcrafted local material instrument with the local tools, now we're combining machinery as well as handcraftness to the instrument to bring the change and also to standardize the instrument. And also using a lot of accessories and equipment for the instrument itself, actually resulting to inspire a lot of youth to adopt the instrument with the pride. So the change is from an untouchable instrument to the instrument that holds pride among the youth has created a substantial changes, and which also shows the power of music, because now the instrument itself is being recognized by the country itself and putting an effort actually to preserve the instrument in different stages.